Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Week 17 player props to bet. Last week we were on a tear, and I kind of been telling you guys, we've been heating up as the year goes on, and no one can stop us. It's week 17. Let's get some props on. First prop, we got Jamar Chase. Over, under 93.5 receiving yards. I'm going under, and I get it. I don't like sticking my hand in fire. You will get burnt. You will get burnt on the oven. And you don't like fading Jamar Chase, but you want to know what I don't like going up against, and no one likes going up against? Pat Surtain. I think the Broncos defense, they're going to move Pat Surtain around. They don't want a repeat of Jerry Jeudy going for 200. So everywhere Jamar Chase goes, Pat Surtain's going to go. I think that's a big part of this game flow. I think the Bengals are going to rack up yards. I think the Bengals are going to rack up points. But I think Jamar Chase is going to play more of a periphery role. I'm going under the 93.5. Next prop flows into this. You could go Gaiseki over 25.5, although I don't think you want your hard-earned money on a player so inconsistent. But the next prop is T. Higgins. T. Higgins, when he's healthy, he's still a very good receiver in this league. And I love his matchups in this game. Now, I know the Broncos benched Levi Wallace, but the fact that Levi Wallace was covering Jerry Jeudy in that Browns matchup should say everything to you, and it should tell you that the Broncos secondary is vulnerable. Give me Higgins over 71.5. Reason is in that first pick. Next prop. We got Mims in the same game. We're going over 2.5 catches. I'm comfortable if you go over 25.5 yards, but we're getting a better price for Mims over 2.5 catches. And this is the same methodology we did against the Chargers. What do the Broncos do on offense? A lot of quick screens. And one of the best guys to get a quick screen on this roster, I know you guys are going to say little Jordan Humphrey or Val. No, it's Marvin Mims. He's the most explosive player on this offense outside of Sutton. And we know when it comes to Yak, no one gives up more than the Bengals. Don't overthink this. Mims over 2.5 catches. Next prop, we got Ladd McConkey over 71.5 receiving yards. I get it, man. It is a lot for him. It is a lot for a guy we don't look at as a stud. We don't look at as a thoroughbred. But can I just ask you an honest question? Who else is going to catch the ball for the Chargers? Who else is going to make plays? Who else can Herbert rely upon? And McConkey's a nasty wide receiver, man. And I think he's got a good matchup. They're going to put him in the slot. I doubt the Patriots use Gonzalez to cover him. I think he's going to get good matchups. And I'm going to just repeat my point. Who else is going to catch the ball? I mean, one thing we know about the Patriots, they're going to play a lot of man-to-man. And who can get separation on man-to-man other than McConkey on the Chargers roster? Give me McConkey over 71.5 receiving yards. Next prop, same game. It's that man again. He's been an absolute money printer. He's printing more money for us than the Fed. Drake May over 220.5 passing yards. I like this one, man. I like this one. And listen, I get it. The fundamentals aren't great. Wide receivers aren't great. Maybe the worst offensive line in football. But this guy is playing at a high level, and it doesn't really matter what goes on around him. He's going to make plays, and I think they're going to let him air it out. If you want plus money, maybe it's a safer bet because we know the Patriots game flow can go ugly real fast. If you want plus money, go with his over 1.5 touchdowns, plus 165. Like I said, he's playing great. The Patriots are throwing the ball more. Not sure the Patriots are going to be able to run it against the Chargers. Give me the over 220 and a half pass yards, but I also like this over 1.5 touchdowns at plus 165. Knox prop. We're going to Cleveland. We got Tyreek Hill over 53 and a half receiving yards. He's got to do it eventually, right? And I know he had 3 drops last week, and it was frustrating, especially because the over was a money pick against the 49ers. It found a way to hit, but Tyreek certainly didn't help in the red zone. Like 2 of those drops, I believe, were in the end zone. But listen, man, no one plays more man-to-man than the Browns, and no one's as lousy in coverage as the Browns at this moment. Listen, and I've been saying all year, and I'm not trying to repeat myself, like, listen, there's a lot of critiques of this Browns offense, but I've been disappointed with their defense, and we're getting against their defense in a lot of these props. I also like the Jonnu Smith over 48 and a half. That might be safer, but I'd prefer to put my money on Tyreek the Thrill Hill. In the same game, I'm going 8-chan under 60 and a half rushing yards. Think this is more of a passing game. And I also like the Tua over 229 and a half pass yards. If that's another one you want to mix in, maybe put it in the same game parlay, that's fine. I'm not trying to be disorganized here, but there's a lot of stuff flowing in this game for me. But the official pick is 8-chan under 60 and a half rushing yards. I still trust this Browns front, even though they're deteriorated, even though they're injured everywhere. I think this is more about Tua slinging the rock. Maybe 8-chan gets 5 or 6 catches. This is about 8-chan not really needing to run it that much and them working in other options like Jalen Watson. I'm going under the 60 and a half rushing yards for 8-chan. Knox prop, same game. Same game. And these books are doing us bad. Malik Washington, Waddle's going to be hurt in this game, in this Dolphins-Browns game. And I think he's going to be the main beneficiary. I want on $2. They don't have it listed. It's going to be between 26 and a half and 30 and a half receiving yards. Go Malik Washington. He looked pretty good. Like you can see a little bit of him in the 49ers game. You can see a little bit of him in the Packers game. He's fast. He's a smart player. I think Malik Washington goes off this game. No Waddle. He's going to benefit over the 26 and a half. I like this more than Jonnu. I like this more than Tua overs. So go Malik Washington once the books put it up. You know why they're blocking it? Because we're winning so much money. Next prop, we're going back to the well, and this one has been an absolute gravy train for us. Jaden Daniels, rushing yards, over 48 and a half against the Falcons. Falcons can't really stop the pass, but we know outside of Terry McLaurin, this Commanders passing attack isn't all that great. And I'm looking at Jaden Daniels to run the read option, and people forget, and we're getting a better price on these for a very simple reason. There was like a 5, 6, 7 week period where Jaden Daniels really didn't run it that much because the rib injury. Did it really affect his play? No, but we didn't see the same type of highlight plays. We didn't see the same type of explosive passing plays because that read option is so hard to defend with him, and he's such a smart player. Like, one thing that's impressed me about Jaden and Drake this whole year is just their football IQ. I'm going over the 48 and a half. Let's pick on the Falcons. Let's go Jaden Daniels over 48 and a half rushing yards. This is really low, and we've hit this like 2 times the last 3 weeks. Next prop, we got Jordan Addison over 55 and a half receiving yards. I do wonder, do the Packers stop the Vikings run game? And we know Justin Jefferson's going to be active in this game. We know there's problems in the Packers secondary, but I'm going Addison. The 55 and a half is just too low. And you got to think Sam Darnold is going to get the ball to him. A lot of people want to go Hawkinson in this game, and I understand. He looked very good last week. But I feel like Jordan Addison has the better matchup, and I really think these Packers second, third corners, their safeties are really weak. Once you take Jair Alexander, who's been banged up the whole year, out of the equation, that's when they really get sparse back there. And everyone keeps telling me Xavier McKinney's awesome. Okay, I guess, but he doesn't cover receivers. I don't know how many times I've had to read that. Give me Jordan Addison over 55.5. And I can see a world in where this game turns into a shootout. I think it's either going to be a really low scoring game or it's going to be a high scoring game. I don't see any in the middle, man. Next prop, we got DTR. We're going back to the well. Under 164.5 passing yards. Listen, we hit it last week. And I think DTR is one of the worst quarterbacks I've seen since like John Skeleton, Ryan Finley. And I'm not trying to bash him. Like, credit to him for being able to get these chocks. And you guys tell me I don't watch a lot of college football, but you guys have informed me he wasn't even good in college. We all need a little bit of DTR magic. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of magic on the football field. Now, I do think the game flow of this game could turn into a blowout. That's why the 164.5 is dangerous. But I just think he's really, really bad, man. And I think he's going to get hit this game. I know I know the Dolphins defense has its issues, but come on, man. They've been pretty competitive at times this year. I'm going under the 164.5 for DTR. Next prop, we got Chuba Hubbard. You guys think we're going over, right? We aren't. I'm going under the 73.5 rushing yards for Chuba Hubbard. I think this is the pick of the week. It's similar to the methodology that we did with Dotto last week. This Tampa Bay defense, it only does one thing well, and that's stop the run. They have to blitz to get pressure. They don't have an elite pass rusher. They can't cover anyone. But one thing they can do is stop the run. And one thing we're seeing a lot less from the Carolina Panthers is them running the ball. I think it's more about them getting Bryce to necessary work. And I think that's what happens here. I think it gets between like 14 and 15 carries. And I just don't think that's enough to go over against the Bucs defense that, like I said, they're great in their run fits and they only do one thing well, stop the run. Next prop and last prop of the week. We got Anthony Richardson under 26.5 passing attempts. Listen, maybe you can go under yardage here, but with the Giants, that's dangerous. Listen, I think the Colts are going to run the ball the whole game, and I think we're going to see a lot of Jonathan Taylor. I don't think we're going to see a lot of Anthony Richardson. Go whatever under his passing attempts are. I mean, I feel like I've explained it. We've faded Anthony Richardson more than 2 times on this show. I don't think I need to elaborate on why. I'm going under the 26.5. Also, some other ones, like I said, like I mentioned, Jonnu over 48.5, Jonnu Smith on the Dolphins. I mentioned Bo Nix over 19.5 rushing yards. Let's just put that in. Maybe I did forget it. And I do like the Tua 229.5 passing yards. The other ones are official. Those are just some suggestions if you don't like my suggestions. Let's get this money, the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. I hope everyone had a marvelous Christmas.